Reactions have been pouring in after BC announced it will reverse several elements of its drug decriminalization program. Premier David Eby is asking Ottawa to remove exemptions for drug use in some public spaces and once again allow seizure of illicit substances. This comes after mayors were complaining of rampant drug use in parks and other public spaces. So joining us this morning from Victoria, British Columbia, with her reaction to the Premier's reversal is Marianne Alto. She's the mayor of Victoria. Welcome.
Good morning.
So according to the BC Coroner's Service, there were 2,511 deaths from toxic drugs in BC, and that was just last year. This, we understand, is the highest number ever recorded. What's your reaction to Premier Eby's decision to reverse the exemptions?
Well, I think that you've hit on probably the most tragic number of all when we look at what's happening in British Columbia in the 8 years of the opioid crisis as it's been declared since 2016. And I think that Premier Eby has done all that he can to find a compromise, a balance point. You were correct in your introduction. The BC Urban Mayors Caucus, of which I'm the co-chair, have called on the provincial government to explore every potential option that they have to find that balance point between ensuring that there are adequate services for people who are currently using drugs and those who wish to change their lifestyle and move on from that, but also with the more difficult, I think, and challenging notion of how you protect communities in general and how you respond to communities' concerns about open drug use in the public domain. I think it's important to note that this is something that we've been trying to deal with in very many different steps for some years now. We take a few steps forward, some of it works, and then we try and do something in addition to that. So I think it's important to note that the Premier has heard the calls from local government and certainly from law enforcement about the challenges they're facing and has tried to find that balance point with adjusting the current position.
And that's part of the point of it being a pilot, is this is something that we were trying so that we could get the feedback from it. So on the note of feedback, what changes have you witnessed in your city since the program began?
We've had some significant changes in the point of, just like I think when you think about any addictive substance, that people begin to use it after it's been banned for a period of time. And I look back, a century ago when we had to examine what happened in the United States around prohibition of alcohol. There's a sense for a little while that all of a sudden you can do pretty much anything you want, anywhere you want. And that does seem to be a factor of human behavior when they have that permission. But I think you pointed out something really important. This is a pilot that's 3 years long. We're just barely halfway through. And I certainly maintain my position that this is an important test to see how we need to manage these issues, and that it would be inappropriate to stop it completely, only partway through the actual analysis piece. But by the time we get to the end, as we continue to try and adjust in small ways throughout the program, we'll be able to have enough data to be able to assess whether or not this approach works, and if it does, how it needs to be adjusted or how it may need to be conformed to different communities in different parts of the country.
So as part of the adjustments then, you've said you want more support for decriminalization programming, and advocates say that decriminalization is needed for harm reduction, considering the toxic drug supply you're dealing with. So what kind of supports then, can you make that clearer for this, would have made this pilot program more effective, or adjustments you want to see coming?
Yeah, there's no doubt at all that decriminalization is one step in the larger program about managing addiction, but it is only one step, and I want to stress that for sure, and that's why I think it's important to continue this pilot. No ban of public use, no program of public use can be effective unless we use that within a larger continuum of widespread addictions and mental health services. We have to make sure that all of the different pieces that we know work, like overdose prevention sites, like continuing care, like extended care, like the pieces that we're doing around treatment and recovery and expanded harm reduction services, that's all part of the package. You can't, I think, expect reasonably to do just one step and have that be the panacea and the result of being a huge change. This is a system change. This is a societal change. This is a way that we want to be able to understand as adults, one hopes, that addictions are with us. They've been with us for centuries or longer. We need to find ways to allow people to deal with their addictions, but continue to live, to seek the substances they need, but also to have the opportunities in a timely way for them to make changes in their lives when they want to. You can't just ban something. You have to be able to acknowledge its reality and then provide people with the support and services they need to get better.
Yeah, you can ban drugs, but you can't ban addiction. Listen,
that's exactly right. It's super important point, because this is not about banning addiction, I hope, because it's important for us to realize that this is just a fact of life, like it or not. We need to focus very much on recovery, on treatment, on supporting people. The bottom line here is, if you pointed out, we need to keep people alive. It's absolutely inexcusable that we're allowing this to happen in the thousands that you've noted as numbers. There are ways to deal with this, and we need to have a more comprehensive view at what that is. I think this is a good thing from the perspective of, trying to balance broad community acceptance, broad community tolerance, the discomfort that people have with the unpredictable behaviors of anyone using any drug or any substance which produces a lack of control. That's what people are uncomfortable about, I think. The circumstances that we have here is that we need to comprehensively look at a way for us to increase investment and easy access to the different types of treatments we know work, but also to look at how this works with all of the other services that we do, addiction services in healthcare and housing and related services and all those different things.
Right.
And and I know I'm answering your question more broadly, but one of the things that we haven't done well here is design the overdose prevention sites in a way which actually includes and welcomes different types of users. Our OPSs are primarily focused on people who are unhoused. But when you look at the numbers that you started quoting, the greatest vulnerability, the greatest number of deaths in our population are not unhoused people. They tend to be male, white workers who are housed in the 30 to 59 range. Those people are not going to go to an OPS that's designed for street folk. They need a different place to do supervised consumption until we figure out how to get enough treatment and support and detox and recovery in place to deal with everyone.
Mayor Alto, I want to thank you for your perspective this morning, and thanks for joining us from Victoria.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
You too.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.